President Trump doubling down on his calls for U.S. allies to step up their military spending during a meeting with the NATO Secretary General at the White House today. Take a listen.
We've worked together on getting some of our allies to pay their fair share. It's called burden sharing, and as you know, when I came, it wasn't so good, and now they're catching up. We're looking at the 2% of GDP level, and at some point, I think it's going to have to go higher than that. We've been picking up a tremendous and disproportionate share, and we just want fairness.
So joining us now is Peter Brookes from the Heritage Foundation. He is also a former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good to be here.
What do you make of this back and forth today?
I think it's good. I think that, the President and Secretary General Stoltenberg get along. I think, and we've seen progress in terms of burden sharing, which the President is right about. We have 29 countries in NATO. We'll soon have 30, but only 7 of them are spending the required 2% of their GDP on defense. Now, that's up 2 since the President took office. It used to be 5, and we have 2 more, France and Romania, Melissa, that will join those ranks shortly. They're spending a little bit less than 2%. And 25 countries have increased their spending on equipment. They're all supposed to be spending at least 25% of their defense budget on equipment because, when you talk about defense budget, a lot of it could be just personnel. So you really have to also have the equipment behind it, and we've seen that. So the President is right. I think we've had progress under this Secretary General. They've just extended his term for 2 more years. So I think, I think things are looking positive.
Yeah. There was a lot of blanching and gnashing of teeth, when the President stood there at NATO and called others out. And, all of his critics said that he really disrespected NATO. Now you have the first Secretary General ever coming to address Congress.
Yeah.
What does this tell you about the relationship between the U.S. and this group?
Well, I think relationship is good. And I think it's better, and it will improve, I think, over time. I mean, don't you really hate it when your critics are right about you? So when the President started this, criticizing NATO about not spending enough on defense, he was right, and they didn't like it because they had to look in the mirror and realize they weren't doing what they needed to do. More of them are doing that. We have Secretary General Stoltenberg going to, first time, as you mentioned, address Congress. The foreign ministers will be here later this week to meet. There'll be further NATO meetings. We're doing a lot about Russia. There's a lot of issues to talk about, in terms of everything from terrorism, Afghanistan, to the Black Sea, to Ukraine. So this is a very important alliance. It's been around for 70 years, and I would say it's probably the most successful defense alliance in the history of humankind.
What do you think he's going to say in front of Congress tomorrow, and what does he need to achieve? What's the point?
Well, I think, it's important that he talks about transatlantic relations and where we go from here and where NATO goes from here. 70 years, there'll be a 75th anniversary, I hope, and of course there's been a 65th and a 60th. I think it's important he talks about the future of NATO and where we go from here and how important transatlantic relations are. We all benefit from peace and stability. And, despite what's going on in terms of Brexit and things along that line, our relationship with Europe from an economic standpoint, from a political standpoint, from a security standpoint, is critically important. I also expect, Melissa, that he'll touch upon Russia, which is obviously an important element of NATO and deterring aggression in Europe and how that's changing. So it'll be a very interesting speech, and I look forward to it being successful.
Peter Brookes, thank you. Good stuff.
Thank you.
Always helpful.